Welcome back. Joe Buck and Tim Green with you from the vet. Not bad at all for the 17th of December. 40 degrees. You got to be kidding me. And I'm sure Arizona doesn't mind that one bit. Gary Anderson ready to kick it away to Arizona. They won the toss. They receive. Ryan Terry and LaShawn Johnson waiting deep, and here we go. This is Johnson from about the 5. Has a ton of room on the far side of the field. LaShawn Johnson. Gary Anderson can't get him. Still going and out of bounds inside the 30. What a great start for the Arizona Cardinals. A 74-yard return forced out of bounds by Eric Zomalt, and a terrible start for this Philadelphia Eagles team, which needs a win today.
Yeah, and the Eagles know that they've got to do stuff on defense to keep this offense from getting the points. This is the way you get points better than anything. Early field position. Here it is. LaShawn Johnson does a nice job. Look at the wedge right there. Everyone gets a block. There's a man on a man. That's the key. Knocking guys down on their back, and then watch the stiff arm here on the kicker. That's what you do with a kicker. You just put your hand right in his helmet and force him to the turf.
They're already yelling over on the Philadelphia sideline. 1st and 10 from the Philadelphia 24. Garrison Hurst meets William Thomas. He's going to the Pro Bowl. Dave Craig is the quarterback for the Cardinals. He has been sacked 47 times this season, and he's not a young guy, but he's held up well. Protected, I guess, by this offensive front. They've had some trouble up there. Tharp, Duval, Love, Ed Cunningham in the middle. Redmond gets the start at right guard. Rob Selby at right tackle. Garrison Hurst and Larry Centers in the backfield. Frank Sanders, Oscar McBride, rookies, and the other wide receiver is Rob Moore. A loss of 1 on that first carry, and on 2nd and 11, the pass is complete, but not for much to Chad Phan. Brought down by McMillan and Romanowski. Up front for Philadelphia, they are strong. Rookie Mike Mamula. Ronnie Dixon makes the start in place of Red Hall. Andy Harmon could make a case he should go to the Pro Bowl. William Fuller will go to the Pro Bowl. The linebackers, Govea in the middle, Romanowski and William Thomas flanking him. And the secondary, Bobby Taylor, the rookie, had a big day. Defensive Player of the Week for his work against Michael Irvin in Dallas. Mark McMillan at the other corner. And the safeties, Greg Jackson, Michael Zordich. This Philadelphia defense a test early after the big return by LaShawn Johnson. 3rd down and 4. Incomplete. There's William Thomas, and a big hold early for the Philadelphia defense.
When you throw the ball on 3rd down, yes, you can go to the tight end short, but the thing that you don't want to do is go at this guy, William Thomas, because you could make the case that he is the best cover linebacker in the entire National Football League. He's got 5 interceptions, and that doesn't come from not being a good cover guy. That comes from playing linebacker like a defensive back.
Now Greg Davis will try a 37-yard field goal. He's got a strong leg. He's got an accurate leg, and he pounds that one through to give Arizona an early lead. So the big return by LaShawn Johnson sets it up. The Philadelphia defense keeps Arizona out of the end zone, but not from in between the uprights. Greg Davis, good. Buddy Ryan, welcome back to Philly. You and the Cardinals have a 3-0 lead.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Cadillac and your Cadillac dealer, creating a higher standard. By Aptiva, the home computer from IBM. Welcome to the future. By Taco Bell, introducing the new sizzling bacon menu from Taco Bell. 3 classic bacon tastes with a whole new spin. And by Sega Saturn. It's a little too real and a little too much fun.
LaShawn Johnson, officially a 70-yard return, and the Cardinals turn it into 3 points. And now Greg Davis kicks it to Derek Witherspoon from about the 15. He has a bit of a wedge in front of him, gets to the 35, and not a bad return for Witherspoon, brought down by Anthony Edwards. 20-yard return. And Rodney Peete, who is 8-2 as a starter, took over in game 5 for Philadelphia, gets a great ovation along with Ricky Waters as they head to the field. The offensive line, Riley McKenzie, Guy McIntyre, 2 veterans anchoring that offensive line. Ricky Waters heading back to the Pro Bowl 3rd time, joined by Saxon in the backfield, Barnett, Williams, the wideouts. The tight end is the toolbox, Ed West. They'll start from their own 35 with a 1st and 10. And they start with a throw. Quick throw to Williams across the 40, brought down around the 42. And a nice gain on 1st down of 7.
One of the important matchups today is going to be Barrett Brooks, the rookie left tackle for the Eagles, and how he works on Clyde Simmons. Now, Brooks is a rookie, and he's been taken advantage of a lot this season. But as you see here, he's starting to get the hang of it. Simmons puts the head clamp on him and everything, but Brooks holds up and allows Pete to get rid of that pass.
Pass was good for 7, so 2nd down and 3. Quick hit. Art Monk, another catch inside the 45, and that's now 182 straight games, an NFL record. 182 straight games with a catch for Art Monk. The defense for the Arizona Cardinals up front: Clyde Simmons, Bernard Wilson, Eric Swan, Michael Bankston. The linebackers anchored by Eric Hill in the middle. Garth Jacks makes his first start at outside linebacker since '88 with Dallas. Brown and Williams the corners. The safeties Alexander and Seth Joyner, the former Eagle. Ricky Waters, his first run of the day. Inside the 10-yard line and forced out of bounds by Aeneas Williams and Lance Brown. Good for 36.
You talked earlier in the beginning of this game about how the Arizona Cardinals defense is last in the NFL against the run. Part of the reason is because they've got an aggressive front 7, and if you break through that initial barrier, there's a long way to go. Watch the lead block by James Saxon right there. He really opens it up for Ricky Waters. And as I said, once you get into that secondary, you're going to run for the big yards.
Waters forced out of bounds at the 7. So 1st and goal from the 7. Ricky again. Hello. Big hit around the 5. And he's dropped inside the 5. That was Garth Jacks who made the first hit.
Again, what happens with this Cardinals defense is they see the hole and then they close it. And if they can close it right away and stop the guy on the line of scrimmage, as Garth Jacks does right here along with Bernard Wilson, then the game goes for nothing. If Ricky Waters can break through that initial line of attack, he's going to have a very big day.
Now 2nd and goal from the 4. Rodney buys time. Intercepted. Brent Alexander brought down shy of the 20, and an early interception for the Cardinals defense. That belongs to Alexander, and that's his 2nd of the year.
And this is exactly what happens when you start putting the ball up in the air, out in space against the Arizona Cardinals. Last week, 6 turnovers against the San Diego Chargers. This is a defense that never gives up. They got their backs to the goal line, but they know that they have this big play capacity, so that when the ball goes up, they think it belongs to them.
Rodney Peete didn't even see Brent Alexander. Brent probably shocked. He comes away with a pick.
No one's going to question the fact that it's a tough way to make a living in the NFL in December. It's also a tough way to make a living sometimes as a cameraman in the NFL in December. There goes Skip down for the count.
Skip Shackelford got hit right in the ear hole, and he ain't wearing a helmet. 1st and 10 from their own 18 for Arizona, their 2nd possession. Leading 3-0. That's tipped and nearly picked off by Romanowski.
The pressure comes from the left side of the defense. And this is right where William Fuller is and Andy Harmon. And Harmon is the guy who gets his hand up and knocks it down. And you say, I have to agree with you. Andy Harmon is a guy who really got overlooked for the Pro Bowl this season. He's had an outstanding season, 11.5 sacks. That's really tough to do, especially when you're playing on the interior of that defensive line.
Now 2nd down and 10, and 2 tight ends in the lineup for Arizona. Garrison Hurst, a big hole, has a 1st down across the 30 and brought down around the 34 by McMillan. Gain is 16, and there was no one on that side of the field for the Eagles.
I talked to Dave Craig right before the game. We were down on the field, and we were talking about the wind and the passing game, and he said, hey, we want to throw the ball today and the short passing game, but we want to run, and the way they're going to want to run is to the left. behind Larry Tharp and Duval Love. And if you saw that play there, both Tharp and Love had their men not only contained but taken out of the play.
16-yard gain and a first down from their own 35 for the Cardinals. Over the middle, caught, not for much, and immediately hit by Govea is the rookie Frank Sanders.
And there's more of that short passing game. And when you talk about the short passing game, you talk about tight ends and you talk about Larry Centers, of course, but sometimes when you've got a wide receiver like Frank Sanders, as tough as he is, you can even send him across there in the middle and let him catch the ball and get banged around by the linebackers, and he seems to be unaffected by it.
2nd down and 6 after the completion for 4 yards to Sanders. Hand off to Hurst. Again running left. Again a big hole. Again, only one man there for the Eagles defensively, Bobby Taylor, and Hurst is inside the Philadelphia 35. 29-yard run.
I said that this Eagles defense prides itself in not making mental errors, but when you see this kind of wash here, and here it is, again, it's on the left side of the line, and this kind of a hole, you know that something's going wrong. Somebody's missing their assignment and not playing the cutback. And if you look at that play, you've got to believe that it's William Thomas, 51, Pro Bowl linebacker, but when he's backside, he's responsible for that cutback run.
Hurst already has 45 yards. He needs 37 more to become a 1,000-yard rusher. Play action. Wide open is Chad Fan, and he has another first down at the Eagle 20. So a good start for Arizona. What's going on in Chicago? A McDonald's game break. Back to the fight doctor, JB in Hollywood.
Hey, Joe, the loser in this game is out of the playoff chase. Trent Dilfer threw a pick. Rashawn Salam made him pay for it. Bears score, but the Bucks respond with their own. All tied at 7 in the first. Back to Joe Buck. Tim Green.
Green Bay already has clinched a playoff berth with their win yesterday in New Orleans. And as usual, it is tight in the NFC Central. That was a 13-yard completion to Chad Fan and a 1st and 10 from inside the Eagle 20. Hurst again, and he is met by Greg Jackson. He got a couple.
Yeah, he's met by Greg Jackson, and the Eagles changed it up. Ray Rhodes threw Kevin Johnson in there, number 94, and he handled that run play a lot better than Ronnie Dixon before. Now, the great thing about Johnson, if you look at him, he's 6'1", 310 pounds. And there's a lot of guys in the league who are 310 pounds. Most of them, though, are about 6'4". And what's the difference is when you're 6'1", 310, you got to buy 2 bus tickets instead of 1.
2 bus tickets for Kevin Johnson.
When you're 6'1", 310, you got to get 2 of them. They won't let you sit down.
2nd down and 9 after a gain of 1. Craig will throw it away. Oscar McBride, the closest receiver for Arizona, now 3rd and 9.
Dave Craig throws that ball away, but you've got to credit that Cardinals offensive line for the protection he had. I mean, he didn't throw it away because he was under any kind of duress at all. He threw it away because there was nothing there. But those guys up front, they handled that Philadelphia defensive line. They've been doing it on the run, and now it looks like they're doing it on the pass as well.
Stevie Anderson and Anthony Edwards into the lineup as wideouts for Arizona. Dave Craig has started out 3 out of 6 for 24 yards. 3rd and 9. Not much pressure again into the end zone, incomplete. Anderson, the intended receiver, and the Eagles near their own goal line again hold Arizona out of the end zone.
And again, the protection is good. It's Duval Love right here, 67, working on Andy Harmon. He knows he's got help to the inside with Ed Cunningham, the center. That's what you do. When you've got Harmon and William Fuller, you take 2 offensive linemen and put 2 on 1 and shut them down.
Greg Davis has already made a 37-yarder, now add a 35-yarder to his resume today, and the Cardinals double their lead. Early in the first quarter, it's been all Arizona here in Philadelphia. They lead 6-0. Well, no one's been any hotter the last 10 games in Philadelphia, 8-2, but off to a shaky start here today against Arizona, but just 6-0. Greg Davis has been good, 2 for 2 in the field goal department, but not a good start for Ray Rhodes' Eagles.
No, not. And again, they've got to overcome that emotional win last week against Dallas. Forget about that. The Cardinals are here, and we can already see they're here for a game.
Witherspoon gives way to Chris T. Jones. And old Chris T. gets across the 35, brought down around the 38. Return of 19 yards. Anthony Edwards last to crawl off Chris T. Jones. Well, they were coming home to earth for Christmas when disaster struck. Now they've got no power, no weapons, and only a miracle can save them. Don't miss a brand new episode of Space Above and Beyond tonight, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on Fox.
Now that description sounded like a little bit like the Arizona Cardinals and Buddy Ryan.
No power, no weapons,
and lost.
1st and 10 for the Eagles, and a little rollout, and overthrown is the tight end Ed West. And the old Boo Birds already flying around the vet.
Well, because if you're a Philadelphia fan and you're here in the vet, it's cold and there's snow all over the place, and even though the sun's shining, you don't want to see the ball go up in the air. You want to see Ricky Watters running the ball, big linemen slamming into each other, opening up some holes, and just churning away at the clock.
Well, Rodney Peete has not started out well. Only 2 out of 4 for 22 yards and an interception. 2nd and 10, you get your wish. Ricky Watters, he gets nothing. Seth Joyner, the 8-year Eagle, there to meet him, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, McIntyre led Ricky Watters on this play, and he's pulling from this side, and he comes around, and you have to watch the way that Terry Irving, 56, filled it. Slam. He wins and just takes away that hole, and that forces Ricky Watters to bounce outside into the rest of the defense. Also on this front line, what they want to do all day is double team Eric Swan, and you see it there. Harry Boatswain, who gets a little help from Anton Davis before Davis chips off and gets a backup.
Now on 3rd and 10, the ball is batted and nearly picked off again. Penalty flag on the play. There is a flag on this play. Rob Carpenter was the intended receiver, who has become Rodney Peete's favorite target on 3rd down. We'll check the foul.
Yeah, he likes Rob Carpenter like Dave Craig likes Sanders across the middle. He's a tough guy who will hold on to the ball in traffic.
Illegal formation. Number 86 of the offense was lined up covering the tight end. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Ron Bloom, our referee today, and time again for the Eagles to punt, and back to punt Tom Hutton.
And that penalty really is one of the symptoms of a team that's playing a West Coast offense that isn't quite completely comfortable with it, because part of it entails a lot of complicated formation.
Hutton lucky to get it away and gets a good bounce. But returned by Anthony Edwards on the hop, and he gets it across the 25. Out of bounds at the 26, a 45-yard punt, 10-yard return. Cardinals get it back. 3rd possession. They lead 6-0. Well, Larry Centers is heading to the Pro Bowl. Was a first alternate last year, and he's better than even that. This guy is fantastic. This year, he figures to break the all-time NFL record for receptions by a running back. He is an electric personality on the field and off.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason he is where he is because of where he came from. We'll talk about it more later.
Little pitch to Garrison Hurst, and he's brought down back at the 20. William Thomas, Andy Harmon, William Fuller, Mike Mamula, all were there waiting, and a loss of 6.
Yeah. Ray Rhodes must have charged this defense up on the sideline and said, hey, enough is enough. You guys get in gear. We're not going to let this Arizona team march down the field on us. So they put the pressure on. They send the guys in the backfield, Mamula, Thomas, you see them all. I mean, they got a crowd back there in the Arizona backfield. That's the way you play defense in December.
Cardinals already have some big plays today. And this Philadelphia Eagles defense prides itself on not giving up the big play. Garrison Hurst almost lost the football as he got to the 25. That's it. And it'll be about 3rd and 11.
Well, I talked about Larry Centers, and you have to look at where he came from, because he's a guy who played at a small school, Stephen F. Austin. He was a 5th-round draft choice, And really, when he first came into this league, he did not know if he could even make it. So he had a work attitude and a work ethic that was going to make him work harder and strive harder than anyone else around him, and that's why he's in the Pro Bowl.
Interesting.
He's in the Pro Bowl because he didn't even know if he could make it in the league.
I was going to say that interesting that centers matched up early on Romanowski. That's a battle we'll watch all day. Craig dumps it off. Garrison Hurst breaking tackles, looking for a first down and finding it across the 40. And terrible tackling by Philadelphia allows Arizona to get a first down.
And I've got to believe that Ray Rhodes is fuming. He's fuming because, again, his defense has played solid this season. They've not made the mental errors, and really part of a mental error is missed tackling. When you see missed tackles like this, it's because guys aren't thinking. They're not following through. They're not keeping their head up and concentrating on the hips of the running back.
You could count 5 missed tackles in that sequence by Hurst, and now a first down. Garrison again. He got a yard and a half. Second down and 8, we'll call it. Just talking about Larry Centers, as you look at the numbers for Garrison Hurst, he's already had a big day, and we're still in the first quarter. Larry Centers and Romanowski got into it the first time these two teams met. Romanowski was kicked out of the game for kicking Larry Centers in the helmet. He said, I didn't forget about that.
Yeah, Centers told us yesterday when nothing else is going on, he's going to be searching out number 53 to take a look at him.
Second down and 8. Craig sacked. William Fuller there for Philadelphia. And Craig is sacked for the 48th time this season.
Arizona offensively knew today that they were going to have to put 2 guys on William Fuller. They knew they were going to have to give Rob Selby some help. This time Selby has them all alone, and that's why Fuller comes away with the sack. Fuller's a Pro Bowler. Selby is a guy who struggled in this league and has replaced a really weak offensive line, and you got to give him help.
Dave Craig make it 48 now. Dave Craig is 37 years old in his 16th year in the NFL. A lot of hits. 6 defensive backs and incomplete on 3rd and 14 to Larry Centers. And for the first time, the Eagles defense will force Arizona to punt.
I talked about help on Fuller. Watch it right here. Here's the help, Larry Centers. This is a chip block. Selby gets into him, and look at Centers. Chip, wham, almost knocks Fuller off of his feet.
And then Centers was the intended receiver a bit behind him, and Jeff Fiegels, who will go to the Pro Bowl, is back to punt for Arizona. Rob Carpenter waiting deep for the Eagles. Beautiful punt. Carpenter calls the fair catch from just outside the 10. 48-yard punt by Jeff Fiegels. Well, about this time we all start to wonder about the playoff picture in the NFC. The top 6 will make it. And so far that's San Francisco, Dallas, and Green Bay. Dallas and Green Bay already in. It's only a matter of time for San Francisco, but Philadelphia next. Atlanta can wrap up a playoff spot today with the right combination. And Detroit, they may end up winning that NFC Central. Minnesota, Chicago, St. Louis, and Tampa Bay all still hanging on.
Yeah, Philadelphia is the one team in that group that controls their own destiny, in that if they win, they go to the playoffs.
That could happen today. They're down 6-0, and Ricky Waters doesn't get much on first down, met by Seth Joyner.
Well, Waters doesn't get a big play, but you don't hear the Philadelphia fans booing because they like that. They like the run on the first down, the big guys slamming around, and Waters giving the ball to him, make him their workhorse. He really has been their offense this season.
He's their leading rusher, over 1,000 yards. Second time he's done that. He's their leading receiver, believe it or not.
I believe it if you say it.
Second down and 9. Appreciate it. Pete swings it out. Ricky Waters can't make a spectacular catch. And a very slow start for Rodney Peete.
Yeah, well, one of Rodney Pete's problems that he's had since the beginning of his career in this league really has been his accuracy on his throwing. And if you look back through his numbers, it's very rare that Rodney Peete has had a season where he's had more touchdown throws than he has had interceptions.
Rodney Peete 0 for his last 4 and an interception. And now staring at 3rd and 9.
And that's a bad situation to be in with this Arizona front line coming at you.
Peete is sacked, and that's Clyde Simmons. He's a former Eagle as well, and this Eagle offense not doing much of anything.
And that's why it's bad. I said it right before the play. When you're in a known passing situation, 3rd and 9, back to the wall, you know that these guys are going to be coming. It's an isolation right here on the right side. Clyde Simmons on the rookie, Barrett Brooks. Simmons just goes right around him for the sack.
Tom Hutton to punt again, his 2nd of the day. Anthony Edwards waiting deep, and the Cardinals ought to get great field position again. Better get rid of that punt. And gets a good bounce. Out of bounds right around midfield. That's where the Cardinals will start with it. They lead 6-0, and 1:05 left in the first quarter. Clyde Simmons and that Arizona defense, and for the most part the defense isn't doing much of anything when you talk about what Buddy Ryan expects this defense to do. However, last week Clyde Simmons, and you being a former defensive lineman, I bet you can appreciate this.
This is a thing of beauty, because not only does he show his hands, but look at the presence of mind he has to just shove Stan Humphries out of the way. He didn't dive up, he didn't try to spin, he just put that long arm out there and just slammed Humphries around, bounced him around like he was a little kid on the playground.
But this defense, Arizona's defense, 23rd in the NFL and last against the run. That's not what Buddy Ryan wants. And that's not what is acceptable for Buddy Ryan to keep his job. Larry Centers, his first carry is into Philadelphia territory and shy of the 45. Larry Centers doesn't get it on the ground much, but averages 3.5 yards per carry when he does.
And when he picks up those yards, he picks it up because he's compact. You know, a lot of guys, when you see a player like that, you say he's a muscle. He's a muscle because he's just bound up tight. He doesn't have much body fat on him, and he picks up those 3.5 yards with power and impact on the first hit.
He got 2, 2nd down and 8. Quick slant, caught inside the 45, and a 3rd and about 4 coming up for Arizona. Greg Jackson, William Thomas there to make the stop for Philadelphia, and we are through 1 quarter of play here in Philadelphia, which so far has been dominated by Buddy Ryan and the Arizona Cardinals. They lead 6-0. Quarter number 2 coming up next. Stay with us right here on Fox.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Welcome back to the vet, ready for quarter number 2. Joe Buck and Tim Green, and so far, Tim, the Philadelphia Eagles don't really look ready to play this game.
Yeah, they don't look like they've overcome that emotional high that we talked about after beating Dallas last week, because right from the opening kickoff, they allowed the Arizona Cardinals to go 70 yards. They picked up a field goal there. And then when the Philadelphia offense got within scoring range, they got down to the 5-yard line. They didn't close the deal. They gave up a turnover and turned the whole thing right around. And then defensively, Philadelphia has allowed this Arizona offense that struggled all year to pretty much march up and down the middle of the field.
3rd and 4 now for the Cardinals. Back across the middle of the field and dropped. Frank Sanders, the intended receiver, and Mark McMillan was right there for the Eagles. Time for Arizona to punt.
You gotta love Mark. If you love football, you gotta love Mark McMillan's enthusiasm and his energy. He is the smallest guy in the league, 5'7", 148 pounds, and he does things like he just did there by knocking the ball away. This is a guy who's a Chihuahua that thinks he's a pit bull.
Okay, 4th down.
Have you ever seen a Chihuahua that thinks it's a pit bull? This guy, that's what he is.
So basically you're saying McMillan is a dog.
That's absolutely not what I'm. You know, now you're sounding like a sports writer. You're misconstruing my quote.
Prior to the snap, 87 offense, false start, 5 yards, repeat 4th down.
That is against Oscar McBride. Proof that Mr. McMillan, in his 4th year from Alabama, is no dog, just a Chihuahua in a figurative sense. 148 pounds, that's it, but he plays with a lot of heart, and he's good. Fiegels hangs it high, and Carpenter will let it go over his head and downed by Marcus Dowdell inside the 15-yard line after a 36-yard punt by Jeff Fiegels.
One thing about a Chihuahua, he's got this full dog personality, but boy, they can scoot around the field.
Can we drop this whole dog thing, please?
Yeah, we could drop it, but I guess the point is made.
Numbers from the first quarter, and most of the good numbers belong on the left side under the Cardinal heading.
Yeah, and this right down here, besides the 6 points, the time of possession number is a time you want to focus, because if you are wearing down your own defense by turning the ball over, then it's going to make a long game.
Ricky Waters bounces outside and crosses the 30. Seth Joyner to force him out of bounds, and Waters gets a first down for Philadelphia with a 20-yard run.
Again, he breaks through that first part of defense, and one of the things that any football player likes is continuity. And for Ricky Waters, running behind the blocks of Guy McIntyre is something that he's done before in San Francisco, and he's doing it again. And McIntyre just runs Garth Jackson out of that play completely.
But you know what? There was a penalty on the play, so it's all coming back. A late flag comes down. It's a hold, and the thing is coming back inside the 10.
And nothing's worse for an offensive lineman to have a big key block like that, all for nothing.
So now 1st and 16 after the hold. The 20-yard gain by Waters is wiped away. And with 2 tight ends in the formation, Pete's going to put it up. Caught by Williams. Breaking tackles, lost the ball again. And Arizona recovers. 2nd turnover for the Eagles. An interception and now a fumble.
And this Arizona defense prides itself in those turnovers. We talked about Buddy Ryan last week, and you talked about his aggressive style of play. Last week 6 turnovers, this week 2 turnovers already. It comes from guys flying around to the football, going up for the passes, hitting the receiver, hitting him once and twice, and it's really a combination of hits that drives that ball out of there. Brent Alexander got it, but somebody loosened that ball up first.
And you know what you're going to love? Who comes away with it? Eric Swan. All the way back from the line of scrimmage, he came back downfield and fell on top of the fumble for Arizona. They take over at the Philadelphia 25, and Garrison Hurst gets to the 22. Now for Arizona, that's 21 fumble recoveries, which is #1 in the NFL.
Yeah, and you don't get the fumble recoveries unless you get people fumbling, and you don't get people fumbling unless you've got guys like Eric Swan, who are defensive tackles, who are running all over the place down the field.
Opening minutes of the 2nd quarter, and for Arizona, they have a 2nd down. 2nd and 7. Craig has plenty of time. Centers is wide open. Down inside the 5 to the 2, maybe the 1. Romanowski and Thomas there to make the stop. A 21-yard gain. And the Eagles defense early is getting rolled over.
And this is just the perfect example of what Larry Centers does. He gets himself open, the sure hands, he makes the catch. Thomas stumbles, and you don't stumble when you're covering Larry Centers, because not only will he make that sure catch, then he gets his engines going, and he just keeps going. It takes 3 guys to knock him down.
Officially from the 1, it's 1st and goal. Hurst. Wow.
Man.
Govea.
Wait, Govea must have thought he was in that Dallas game last week when he hit Emmitt Smith like that and just knocked the ball just into the atmosphere. This time he almost knocks Garrison Hurst into the atmosphere. When you're a middle linebacker, you could hear that hit. That's some serious sound. That's some serious sound work down there. And then you see Govea just nodding his head like, yeah, that's what it's all about. As a middle linebacker, that feeling right there that Govea had just is the ultimate.
Philadelphia all crossed up. They had a ton of substitutions, able to call a timeout before that play got underway, and good thing for Philadelphia because they had no idea what personnel should have been on the field.
And you know you got to call a timeout when Kurt Govea, the 54, the linebackers coming out of the game.
2nd and goal from the 1. Barry, they caught you from the sideline. Timeout, Philadelphia.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. Drivers wanted. By the United States Marine Corps, the change is forever. By Ryobi, the complete line of power tools with pro features at affordable prices. And by Hewlett-Packard and Circuit City.
2nd down and goal from the 1. Inside handoff, centers, touchdown, Arizona. Larry Centers able to get into the end zone, his 4th touchdown of the year, and Arizona adds to its lead.
No one this season has remarked on the creativity of the Arizona offense, but that right there was a very creative play. It was a nice counter, and when you expect it to be a lead play with Centers leading up for Garrison Hurst, all of a sudden they come back the other way on the counter.
Now leading 12-0. The Arizona offense will stay on the field, and the Cardinals will go for 2. That's caught, and that's a 2-point conversion to Stevie Anderson.
This is 2 weeks in a row for Anderson. This is exactly what they did last week for the 2-point conversion.
Penalty flag on the play. Arizona indicating it's against Philadelphia.
Why do you go to Stevie Anderson? He's 6'5".
It's a defensive hold against the Eagles. The 2-point conversion is good, and all of a sudden it's 14-0. Arizona, a 4-play drive covering 25 yards and 2:11 from the clock. And the Cardinals are leading 14-0 with a lot of time left in the first half.
Holding 45 defense. The try is good, 2 points. The penalty's enforced on a kickoff.
Stevie Anderson, you're going to see him on the left-hand side of the screen, number 82, and there he is. He's 6'5". He leaps up against Barry Wilburn and comes down with it with that height.
After the touchdown by Centers, the Cardinals lead by 14. Arizona now leading 14-0, and these Philadelphia Eagles have to be a bit shocked with their record of 9-5 against the 4-10 Cardinals. But so far, Arizona has shown up, and the Eagles have not.
Yeah, and Arizona has come up with 2 big turnovers and a big kickoff return to set up their scores.
Greg Davis kicks it to Derek Witherspoon from inside the 10. Witherspoon trying to get to the 30. He does. Brought down at the 30 after a 22-yard return. Time for the Philadelphia Eagle offense to get it going.
I talked about this touchdown, and it's tricky because you see the counter, but it's also physical because Larry Centers runs right over the top of Michael Zordich to get into the end zone.
So Philadelphia's offense, which has been shut out so far and has handed over the ball twice, once on an interception, once on a fumble, starting from their own 31. Waters. Nice cutback and big yards across the 35. And Ricky Waters gained 6 and now has 47 here in the first half.
I think this is vintage Ray Rhodes, and what I mean by that is Philadelphia coming out and running the ball, getting back to doing what they do, because they've got to put this ugly beginning of the game behind them, and they've got to just settle down, run the football, and stiffen up on defense, and they've got to protect the ball on offense.
2nd down and 4. Waters again looking for daylight, and he sees nothing but red. Bernard Wilson there to throw him back, and Waters lost yardage on that play.
When you're the most dominant defensive lineman in the league, which Eric Swan is, sometimes you can work through a double team. Here he's got 2 guys on him, and he just splits it, keeps going, and gets in on that tackle. When you double team Eric Swan, you got to hold the double team for the entire play. You can't hit him and then go off him. If you do, he makes the play.
Loss of 2, now 3rd down and 6. Pete looking for help, finds Ricky Waters inside Arizona territory with a 1st down. What a great effort by Rodney Peete to hang in. He found Ricky Waters, who gets a 1st down, and now Keith McCant's having a tough time getting up. What a great effort by Rodney Peete.
It really was, and we talked about Rodney Peete not having this tremendous accuracy. So you say, well, why is he in there? He's in there because of plays like this. He hangs in, he gets the big pressure coming from his right side, he gets that ball off and takes the hit. And then you see there, Ricky Waters matched up on Seth Joyner. That is a matchup that the Philadelphia Eagles want to see all day. They believe that if Joyner is man-to-man on Ricky Waters, Waters is going to win that battle, separate himself, and Peete can find him with the ball.
First catch of the day for Ricky Waters, good for 18 yards, and now Philadelphia with a 1st down at the Arizona 47.
Seth Joyner today, by the way, playing strong safety, normally a linebacker, but he knows the defense so well that because of injuries, they've got him at strong safety.
Play action now, and Peete lost the football again, and we'll see who comes away with it. Philadelphia able to get back on top of it, but Peete was under heavy pressure again.
Now it's time for the Philadelphia Eagles to do one of 2 things. As you watch Barrett Brooks working on Clyde Simmons, 1, they've got to help him. They've got to double team Clyde Simmons, put 2 guys on him, or 2, they've got to replace Barrett Brooks with Mo Elowanibi. And there, excuse me, it is Mo Elowanibi. So they already did one of the 2 things, and that didn't work. So now they got to go back to the only thing they can do, which is put 2 guys on Clyde Simmons. Does that make sense?
Sure. Elowanibi is into the game. Brooks is out. The bottom line is the Philly offensive line is struggling. 2 tight ends. And this is Calvin Williams. Forced out of bounds around the 40. A few yards short of a 1st down.
And now Barrett Brooks is back in the game, so you got to switch Elowanibi with Brooks or put 2 on him. And so they made the switch. But either way, they've got to control Clyde Simmons because this is home to Simmons. He loves this place, and he loves these fans because he still feels like they're his fans. So you gotta clamp down on a guy when he's coming home.
15-yard completion to Williams, now 3rd and 3 from the Arizona 40. Peete again under heavy pressure, and it'll be 4th down. And a decision coming up as Clyde Simmons again gets in the backfield.
Well, they tried to take it away from him by putting a tight end there and forcing Simmons to release outside. But Simmons just powers Brooks, goes right over the top of him. And not only is Rodney Peete on his back, Barrett Brooks is on his back.
A penalty flag on the play. It is against Philadelphia. And it is declined.
And you know that you are a big-time football player when you not only can put a quarterback on his back, you can put a big 300-pound tackle on his back as well.
Actually, they picked up the flag, so now 4th down. 4th down for Philadelphia, needing to get a 1st down. They need 3 yards. And because Philadelphia is going for it on 4th down, Arizona will call a timeout and talk about it. 4th and 3 for Philadelphia when we come back. They have the ball at the 40. Well, faced with a 4th and 3, Ray Rhodes, needing a jump start to this offense, into this game, decides to go for it.
Well, he does. When you're down 14-0 and you expect to be up 14-0 at this point, you just pull out the stops and go for it.
So 4th and 3, and the 4th down defense for Arizona, not bad. 5th in the NFL. From the Arizona 40, 4th down and 3 for the Eagles, down by 14. Peete pressure again, throws it up, and it's picked off. Picked off and into Philadelphia territory. Seth Joyner comes down with it. And the third turnover of the day for the Eagles comes on 4th and 3.
I can tell you that Rodney Peete expected on 4th down for the Arizona Cardinals to come with an all-out blitz. And then it felt like a blitz because Joyner was on him right away. And I really believe that's why Peete dumps this ball off so quickly and so poorly. See, he feels the immediate pressure of Joyner, and he sees guys in his face, and he just tosses that ball up. Actually, it's Joyner who picks it off. It's Clyde Simmons who put the pressure on him. And once again, the Eagles have got to address Barrett Brooks and Clyde Simmons, because that's a problem that is not going to go away.
And now from right at midfield, the Arizona offense takes over, and Craig airs it out for Rob Moore. Fights off the defender and makes the catch. Getting physical with Bobby Taylor. And a catch inside the 25, and the Cardinals planned on beating up Bobby Taylor today.
This is one thing. We talked to Ted Plum yesterday, and he said, hey, Bobby Taylor may have held up against Michael Irvin, but last week in the Dallas game, Bobby Taylor knew he had double coverage on Irvin. He had help on every play. Now, we don't believe that Philadelphia Eagles are going to double cover our receivers every play. So Taylor is going to be back in an isolated situation, and we're going to go after him.
Gain of 27, first down inside the Philadelphia 25. Quick out, Sanders to the 20. A McDonald's game break and Atlanta update from Hollywood and James Brown.
Hey, Joe, and Atlanta win with some help. They're in the playoffs. They're on their way. Shovel pass to Ironhead Hayward. Touchdown run by the big fella. 79 total first half yards. Falcons on top, 14-0. Joe Buck, Tim Green.
Falcons hanging tough in the race in the NFC West with San Francisco leading. They play on Monday night against Minnesota. St. Louis, their hopes are fading as Atlanta continues to lead in Carolina. Second down and 7 from the 20. Hurst to the 15 and forced out of bounds by Greg Jackson.
Again, on that interception, you see the look. It looks like a blitz, and then Peete feels the heat, but it's Joyner who's not in a blitz. He's in coverage. Now watch it. Everybody's up, and then they drop back into coverage. And Rodney Peete just does not account for Seth Joyner right there because he shouldn't be there. By all rights, the way Peete read it, Joyner was going to be coming on the blitz.
Joyner there to make the interception, and now the Arizona offense moving inside the 15, and they have a 3rd and 2. Looked like Larry Tharp, the left tackle, left a little too soon.
You know, we talked about Arizona wanting to run to the left side of their offense behind Tharp and Duval Love because of the matchups there.
71 offense, false start, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
And the matchups are Larry Tharp, a 6'4", a 300-pounder against Mike Mamula, the rookie defensive end, who is undersized at 6'4", 252 pounds. That's a battle that Larry Tharp should be able to win. And then you've got Duval Love, who's the guard there. He's 290, and he's working on Ronnie Dixon, either Dixon or Kevin Johnson. And they feel like Duval Love really is their best offensive lineman, and he is.
Now 3rd and 7 for Arizona. Craig overthrows his receiver as Sanders was the intended receiver. Mark McMillan was right there with him. Now Greg Davis trots onto the field. He'll try his 3rd field goal of the day. Second half of the doubleheader coming up next. New York Giants take on the Dallas Cowboys in a battle of NFC East rivals. Don't miss MVP candidate Emmitt Smith as he leads the Cowboys into the playoffs. Coming up next, right here on Fox. Under 6.5 to play in the first half, and Greg Davis, who is 2 for 2, will try another 37-yarder. Greg Davis now 3 for 3. A lot going right for Arizona. A very slow start for Philadelphia. Fans here starting to call for Randall Cunningham. We may see him today. Arizona leads by 17. Doesn't take long. The crowd, as we went to break, and now 2 times have been chanting Randall's name. We may see Randall Cunningham. 3 weeks ago, Cunningham came in relief of Rodney Peete against Washington, only to have Rodney Peete come back and help the Eagles beat the Redskins. But the bottom line is the Philadelphia offense has not done much of anything. And Arizona's leading 17-0. Witherspoon looking and needing a big return. Witherspoon trying to beat Davis. Touchdown, Philadelphia, no flags.
You want to get it pumped up. You want to reverse the momentum of a game. Nothing does it like an 86-yard kickoff return. And Witherspoon just showing outstanding speed. Did you see the stride? Witherspoon doesn't do this with quick leg movement. He does it with a long stride. Again, he gets that wedge. He gets nice blocking from his return team. Now watch him go up in the air. He almost goes up in the air and changes his stride and goes. It looks like he's going on a long jump or a triple jump in the last strides of that touchdown run. Watch the blocking up front. Look at those guys. Wham! They're knocking guys out, knocking guys down, and then Witherspoon uses his speed.
Witherspoon, just a week ago, took over as the kick returner for Philadelphia. Anderson adds the extra point, and the Eagles, needing a jump start, get it from Derek Witherspoon, who is a first-year player from Clemson. The last Eagle to return a kick for a touchdown was Herschel Walker, and Witherspoon's comes at a critical time.
Yeah, and that is the first big play that we've seen go the Philadelphia Eagles' way so far today. Sometimes that's all it takes. You talk about Ray Rhodes wanting his team to burst that bubble of emotion from last week. Well, nothing does that. Nothing pulls the pin out and bursts the bubble more than a big play like a kickoff return.
Witherspoon, 86 yards to get Philadelphia on the board. Arizona still leading by 10, but you just get the feeling that 86-yard run could turn this entire game around.
Yeah, because as you watch these guys going out onto the field for the Eagles kickoff team, and you look at the guys on the sideline, you see McIntyre there, and you see Rhodes, everybody all of a sudden has a spring in their step because they feel it. And now they feel like, hey, the gap is closed by this big play. We're back in it. Now let's get things going.
Gary Anderson will kick it back to Arizona, and now the crowd is back into the game. LaShawn Johnson had a 70-yard return earlier in the day. Waiting back deep with Ryan Terry. This is Terry from inside the 5. Kickoff coverage has been poor today on each side as Terry gets to the 35-yard line.
Spreading the news.
It's Thomas Hayden Church from Wings like you've never seen him before. He's one half of TV's funniest couple. Catch a brand new Ned and Stacy tomorrow at its new time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right after TV's funniest Christmas moments. And a big moment for Philadelphia in this game, the return by Derek Witherspoon. And a return like that can get this defense charged up, which is exactly what Philadelphia needs.
Yeah, because this defense is got to be starting to get tired. And when you're tired, an emotional burst can get you back into it.
From the 35. Toss to Hurst. Nothing. Maybe a yard. Govea.
You know, if you look at the roster and you look at Govea and you see Kevin Johnson in there who was working in his dad's liquor store, and you look at guys like Ronnie Dixon who are driving trucks and Daniel Stubb who is out of it, you have to realize that Ray Rhodes has an exceptional eye for talent. He sees guys, he sees what they could do, and he puts them in the position to play to their strengths. And that's why the Eagles, I believe, are in the playoff position that they're in.
2nd down and 9. Quick slant to Moore, incomplete, and Bobby Taylor was right there with it. Now 3rd and 9. And this Philadelphia defense hoping for a 3-and-out by Arizona.
Funny to listen to Ray Rhodes talk about Bobby Taylor. And he said when Taylor first walked into his room, he shuffled in and slow. And Ray Rhodes said, the guy even walks lazy. He's one of the laziest guys in practice I've ever seen, but he is full of talent. And he's got the size and the strength to be the prototype cornerback in the future of the NFL.
3rd down and 9. Dumped off to Centers. Will not get a first down to the 41. 4 yards short of a first down. The last player to hit him is still down. And we will make sure of who it is before we throw out a name and scare somebody unnecessarily. But it was the last guy to come in and hit Centers.
Well, whoever it was, it doesn't surprise me that he's down. I think it's Kevin Johnson. You talk about a defense being fired up and hustling. Here's Kevin Johnson. He goes through 3 offensive linemen. Now, this guy's 6'1", 310, and he still hustles himself downfield to really lay a brutal hit on Larry Centers. It's head-to-head, and then Johnson is the guy who comes away with the injury. Centers amazingly gets up after taking that shot.
Centers, by the way, now has 2 catches for 25 yards. He needs 5 more catches for the record, chasing the record set by Roger Craig back in 1985 of 92 catches by a running back. He's shooting for 93 today, and he's 5 short. While Kevin Johnson is down, we'll take a short break. When we come back, time for Arizona to punt. Kevin Johnson is still down. Larry Centers is up and walking around. Centers was the one who got hit, but Johnson is the one who's still laying down. And you, of course, get that sick feeling in your stomach when you see any player out there down on his back and lying. And now they get him to a sitting position as we give you another look.
Yeah, well, it's scary because he just hits, again, it's head-to-head. And you see that helmet just jam straight down on his head. And whenever you see that, you fear for a neck injury, because you know that's what it is. But this is a good sign that he's sitting up, he's moving his feet, he's moving his hands. But this is also a situation where I think you want to get a guy into a locker room and get him an X-ray. That's usually what they'll do, just to make absolutely sure.
Kevin Johnson, well, now he's pumped up. He's giving high fives. He jogs off the field. He woke up.
Yeah, and he should be pumped up because he was part of the stop on Larry Centers and part of the stop of this Arizona drive. And now everybody's starting to remember that, hey, the Eagles have got the momentum back in their favor.
So Fiegel's on to punt. Rob Carpenter waiting deep for the Eagles. 3-and-out for Arizona. End-over-end punt. Carpenter will just field it inside the 15, out of bounds around the 14-yard line. 46-yard punt by Fiegels. Well, for the Philadelphia Eagles, the playoff scenario is rather simple. A win or a tie today. You don't see ties very often. They're in. Or a Falcons loss plus a Bears loss or tie, or a loss by the Lions or Vikings, or Vikings loss. Forget the rest of that stuff. They got to win today.
Yeah, when you're a player, you're not thinking about this stuff. You're thinking about this up here. You're thinking about the win. You're not thinking about a tie or anybody else losing. They control their own destiny.
Keith McCants is in at defensive end for Arizona as they toss to Waters, who meets Eric Hill. And Waters crossed the 15, got only 2.
Eric Hill is not a guy whose name we've heard call a lot today, and that's unusual because whenever the Cardinals are playing, usually it's Hill who's at the center of it all. He's the guy who makes the calls. He's their leader, not only from a mind standpoint or formation standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint.
Well, by our unofficial count, Hill has only 3 tackles so far. On second down, the pass is incomplete, out of the reach of Ricky Waters. And Rodney Peete still really is not into a groove in this game.
I don't know that Rodney Peete didn't do Ricky Waters a favor by making that ball uncatchable, because if Ricky Waters had caught that ball, he was going to turn and find Terry Irving and Eric Hill right on top of him, and they were going to make a Ricky Waters sandwich.
Rodney Peete 0 for his last 3, and now having to deal with 3rd and 8. From their own 16. Penalty flag on the play. Pete's going to shoot deep, and it's picked off by Lance Brown. But again, a penalty flag on the play. Brown's going to return it. Why not? Lance Brown inside the 10 and into the end zone, but will check the flag. And you get the feeling it was a free play, that the defense jumped, but you never know. So smart of Brown to return it, but it is against Arizona, so it doesn't matter.
It was smart, though. You're absolutely right, because a lot of times I've seen plays. I've been down to the field and seen plays like that where something goes wrong with a flag.
96 defense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
It's Clyde Simmons. And what they did with Simmons is he's been beaten up on Barrett Brooks. This time they moved him to this side of the field to work on Harry Boatswain, and it's this time that Rodney Peete gets him on the jump.
Let me ask you this. Why do you move Clyde Simmons?
I was just going to say, I don't know why you move Clyde Simmons, so I can't answer that.
He's owned either Barrett Brooks or Elwin Eby, who's ever been at left tackle. Now they move him to the other side.
That's called outthinking yourself.
Clyde has 2 sacks, and now flags fly, or I should say no flags fly, as a timeout is called before the play clock expired. The Eagles need to get it working. Faced with a 3rd and 3 when we come back. Well, the word is a slight concussion on the part of Kevin Johnson. Doubtful he will return. Meanwhile, as the play clock was winding down, Philadelphia just able to get a timeout called. They're left with only 1 this half, and they have a 3rd and 3 at their own 21. Aeneas Williams, the Pro Bowl cornerback, is out with a left knee strain for Arizona, something that's been bothering him all year. As they hand to Waters, he'll try the other side. Looking for blocking, he has nothing. Brought down back inside the 15-yard line by Eric Swan and others. A loss of 7 and time to punt.
And that play there really typifies the day for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, because everything has been going wrong. He goes one way and there's no one there. He goes the other way, and then he sees a Cardinals defense that is not only big in Eric Swan, but fast in Eric Swan, and Swan gets him behind the line.
Now Hutton, the left footer, punts it away. Good punt. Anthony Edwards will fair catch it inside the Arizona 45. So now the Arizona defense stands tall and holds Philadelphia, just as you thought the momentum was going back in favor of the Eagles.
Well, part of the getting the momentum back is you've got to get every phase of your game going. Now the Eagles have got their special teams going because Witherspoon returned it for a touchdown. They've got their defense going because the defense went 3 and out, but now they've got to get back to that offense. They've got to get that offense cranked up.
42-yard punt by Hutton, and Arizona takes over inside their own 45. Greg dumps it off to McBride. Oscar McBride breaking tackles, lost the football, and Arizona gets it back. He was down by contact anyway, but the tackling so far for the Eagles has not been all too good.
Well, Bill Romanowski is the guy who's on Oscar McBride, and Romanowski is not known for being, he's known for being a quick guy, a fast guy, a run you down from behind guy, but not a guy head-to-head, wham, I knock you on your back guy. And that's what happened with Oscar McBride. McBride is a wham, knock you on your back guy.
He got 13 yards and a first down inside the Philadelphia 45. Garrison Hurst inside the 35, a couple short of a first down, but a nice gain on first down. He got 8. And we are at the 2-minute warning. Time for our Aflac trivia question. How many Pro Bowl running backs have the Eagles had in the last 30 seasons? The answer when we return. Voted to the Pro Bowl, one of only 4 different running backs to go to the Pro Bowl for Philadelphia in the last 30 years. Waters, Wilbert Montgomery, Tom Woodashick, and Tim Brown. Ricky Waters, 3rd time he's going to the Pro Bowl, 1st time as an Eagle, and he's been frustrated all day.
He's going to the Pro Bowl, though, whatever happens today, because he's really worked hard this season. He's carried the ball, he's caught the ball, and he's taken a lot of physical pounding and still practiced hard and worked hard all week, every week.
2 minutes left here in the first half. 2nd down and 2, and Garrison Hurst to the 30, but a penalty flag is thrown on the play. Kurt Govea there to make the stop, but a flag, and this one looks like it's coming back. It is a hold against Arizona.
Holding 79 offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
That's Ed Cunningham, the center, and normally a center, I got to tell you, can get away with holding because he's right in the middle of the pit and he's got guys all over on either side of him, and your center is usually the guy who will do the most holding during a game because he's the guy who can get away with it the easiest.
That is the 4th Cardinal penalty of the day, and that makes it 2nd down and 12. Back inside Arizona territory by William Fuller, and that's his 2nd today.
Fuller goes right past his former roommate on the road, Rob Selby. Here's Selby over here, and here's Fuller. Now, Selby is expecting a little bit of help, but he can't get help from the running back because Govea uses up Selby's help. And without help, this guy here is big and fast and powerful, and he's tough to handle one-on-one. And besides, he said he was going to get Selby back for snoring all those nights on the road.
Selby, a former Eagle, now 3rd and 23 after a loss of 11. Centers well short of a first down, brought down around the 46 by Ronnie Dixon.
Once again, we see the Philadelphia Eagles with their big guys, their big interior guys, Ronnie Dixon and Kevin Johnson on the last one, running downfield to make plays.
Now Philadelphia will use their final timeout of the half to preserve 1:06 on the clock. And we are approaching halftime here at the Vet. Coming up on the Dockers halftime, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have all the scores and highlights and a look at the best plays of the year in choice cuts. Plus, we'll have Tim Green's book on. It's all coming up on the Dockers halftime.
I think this 2-minute situation that the Eagles are in right now is one where they can take advantage of Buddy Ryan, because Buddy is without his best cornerback and maybe his best, well, Swan and Aeneas Williams, best defensive players, one of his 2 best defensive players. The Eagles should be able to take advantage of some rookie cornerbacks in this 2-minute drill, getting the ball downfield to their wide receivers.
Philadelphia, however, last in the league with their passing game. They're going to have to move it downfield. They trail by 10. Jeff Fiegels to punt for Arizona with Rob Carpenter waiting deep. And Carpenter immediately calls for the fair catch and gets it around the 12-yard line. Under a minute to play here in the first half, and Jeff Fiegels, who is not #1 in the NFL in total yardage as a punter, but #1 in net yardage, is headed to the Pro Bowl for the first time.
I spoke to him on the field before the game, and I said, is it true that you wear earplugs and it's helped you this season? Oh, yeah. He pulled them right out of that pouch he's got on the front. he had this big wad of wax or whatever it was, and he said, this thing, I put these things in my ears, and I don't hear the crowd noise. I can hear a little bit of my guys around me. It's one of those earplugs with a filter in it. That helps me concentrate and punt better.
Here is Ed West getting it across the 20. In the way this game has started for the Eagles offense, I bet Rodney Peete wishes he had some of those earplugs.
Yeah, but I think Pete, what he wants to do now is listen to the sideline. And the sideline, the call should be to go after the corners.
Penalty flag on the play as the pass is complete to Calvin Williams, but a flag is down. A gain of 11, but will it stand?
Whether it does or not, that's what Pete wants to do. He wants to attack these Arizona Cardinal cornerbacks.
Offside, 90 defense. Penalties decline. First down.
They get McCants for offside, and the 11-yard throw counts. First down for Philadelphia.
Just go right after these guys. Lance Brown is a rookie. He's on one side. Tito Paul is a rookie. He's on the other side.
First and 10 for the Eagles. And a quick slant to Art Monk. He has a first down across the 40. Brought down at the 43. His second catch of the day.
Now they got to stop that clock.
And they do. 26 seconds remaining in the half. Philadelphia down by.
One thing you know when you've got Art Monk out there and you throw the ball to him. Now the sun is starting to set, and it's starting to get cold and cool down there. Art Monk is a guy who's not only been a cold weather receiver for 16 years in the NFL with Washington. He was a cold weather receiver for 20 years, because I know when I was a kid, I used to go to Archibald Stadium in Syracuse, which was before they had the dome, and watch this guy pull down passes in the snow.
He has 2 catches for 25 yards, and the Eagles have a second down and 10. To the side again, to Monk again, and incomplete out of bounds. Incomplete out of bounds as he couldn't get both feet down. Working on Tito Paul, the rookie, and so far Paul has not done much.
No, he hasn't. Look at the cushion that he gives Art Monk, and this is just a lack of concentration for Art, a guy who's done it so many times. He forgot to look down and watch and make sure he planted that second foot in the green.
And again, remember, the Cardinals defense playing without Pro Bowl cornerback Aeneas Williams out with a left knee strain. Now third down and 10. Down the middle of the field, Barnett incomplete. Lance Brown broke it up. Barnett couldn't hang on.
This has been Fred Barnett's problem this season, and making this transition to the West Coast offense. He was great with Randall when he could work the sidelines. He's had problems on the inside in traffic. Traffic are the red jerseys coming at you, and he loses his concentration in the middle of the field because he sees guys coming at him from both directions.
Tom Hutton to punt. Barnett does not have a catch in the first half, and Hutton punts it to Anthony Edwards, who makes the fair catch inside the 25 with only 10 seconds remaining in the half. 33-yard punt by Hutton. What's going on over in the AFC? Top 6 make the playoffs. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, they're both already in. They both won their division. Buffalo looking good in that AFC East. And then it's Oakland, Indianapolis, and Miami. Miami trying to hang on, trying to rebound. Then 3 teams at 7-7. Denver, San Diego, and Seattle. That AFC West is a pretty tight division.
Buffalo right now is ahead of Miami 13-3.
Arizona is content to sit on the ball and have a 10-point lead at the half. The Eagles leave the field to a chorus of boos here at the Vet, but down by only 10. Good start for Buddy Ryan and his Arizona Cardinals. They lead it at the half 17-7. The Philadelphia Eagles coming into this game having won 8 of 10, a record of 9-5, and with a win today will get into the playoffs. So far, after one half of play, they're down by 10. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with a Dockers halftime after this from your local Fox station. Eagles as a team.
The book on the Philadelphia Eagles is about a moment in time. A moment when a group of players became a team, and a rookie head coach made a city with a past believe it now has a future.
All we were concerned about was, okay, they're going forward, we're going to stop them.
You can just see everybody, the look in their eyes. They were ready and willing to go, and it just turned out great.
Same play. Didn't get it again. Get it again. That's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. What in the heck is going on?
What's going on is simple. One play, and the Eagles started to believe a new chapter had begun.
I said, come on, D, and then they stopped him again. I just went crazy at that point, and just felt we were going to win at that time.
With future success, these Philadelphia Eagles will look back and thank the Dallas Cowboys for being so bold.
Looking back on it, at that point, you don't realize how important a play that one play was.
Well, Tim Green, you normally pick out an individual, but you picked out the Philadelphia Eagles as a team, and at the head of it, Ray Rhodes. We talked at the top about them having to put those emotions and that win behind them. I don't know if they did at the start of this game.
I don't think they did, but I can promise you that Ray Rhodes in the locker room at halftime blistered these guys and said, hey, if you don't straighten it out, turn it around, that play last week is going to end up being a footnote instead of the beginning of a new volume.
Could have sold tickets to that meeting. Ray Rhodes, you can bet.
He
went crazy at halftime.
He doesn't left anything unsaid. He's not worried about hurting people's feelings.
Greg Davis kicks it away as Derek Witherspoon waits for it inside the 10. Witherspoon gets it to the 30, and that's where the Philadelphia offense will start. They trail by 10, and we look at the first half numbers.
I think two of the most significant numbers, obviously, are turnovers. There, you've got 3 over there that for the Eagles, none for the Cardinals, and then the turnovers directly relate to this. Time of possession. The Cardinals have rested that very aggressive defense, and in part, when you rest an aggressive defense, it allows them to make the big plays and have the energy for the turnovers.
Start of the second half, and the Eagles down by 10. Start with a run. Ricky Watters to the 40. He got to the first down yardage. He got a first down right at the marker, and have already awarded Philadelphia first down.
Did you see the way Ricky Watters breaks through that line and then he lopes? He lopes through the linebackers. Watch the length of his stride and watch the explosiveness here. He makes the cut, and I watch it there. You see him lope. He just hurdles a guy and gets that big stride going.
And got a first down. Now he's met in the backfield, and he cannot shake the tackle of Bernard Wilson. What a good play.
It was a nice play, and whenever there's an interior guy like that who makes a play, you know one of two things. Either somebody across from him pulled and abandoned the area, or somebody just absolutely missed a block, missed an assignment, and allowed him to come free.
Loss of 3 on the play, and a second down and 13 for the Eagles. This crowd here at Veterans Stadium booed the offense when they came back onto the field to start this second half. First throw of the half, complete to Barnett. That's his first catch. Good for 8, and he got it to the 45, about 5 short of a first down.
That pass is good for Rodney Peete, because the second half always for a football player is like a new game. If you've got a coach like Ray Rhodes, you think about the second half in terms of being a whole new game, a whole fresh start, and that's a good start. A nice, safe pass for positive yardage for Rodney Peete.
Now third down and 5. Blitz is coming. Peete dumps it off, and Monk can't hang on. For one of the few times in this game, the Arizona defense brought the blitz, and it worked.
That's right. And when you are known as a blitzing team, which Arizona is, then everyone's worried about your blitz. And then they didn't do it all game long, almost exclusively dropped into coverage. And now you see the heat coming from Seth Joyner. And it's really, I think, the referee that helps defend that play against Art Monk as much as anyone over the middle.
Art Monk wasn't ready for it. Now Hutton has to punt, and Anthony Edwards calls for the fair catch around the 20. So the defense for Arizona, first series, they give up a first down, but they hold Philadelphia. Cardinals get it back. They lead by 10.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles. By Beechwood-aged Budweiser, the gold medal winning American premium lager at the 1995 Great American Beer Festival. This Bud's for you. By Hewlett-Packard Home Printers, printers so good that your documents will truly come to life. And by Visa, official card of the NFL.
Remember, Philadelphia, if they win today, they are in the playoffs, and they put more heat on first place Dallas. Right now, they trail by 10. Garrison Hurst lost the football. Greg Jackson recovers, and the Eagles take over inside the 25. That's the first Arizona turnover, and it is big.
What they wanted to do, the Cardinals wanted to run at Romanowski. And here's Romanowski on the outside making that hit that forces Hurst to just lose that ball and cough it up. Romanowski, we talked about it before. We said, hey, this guy's not a point of attack linebacker. He's a run around, chase you down linebacker. That time, he turned himself into a point of attack guy.
Philadelphia gets it back, down by 10. First Arizona turnover. Here's Ricky Waters. Charged up, but he got only 2. As we talked about, a Philadelphia win would put them in the playoffs for sure and would put more heat on Dallas. And remember, Dallas in first place, a game ahead of Philadelphia. Their game is coming up next right here on Fox. Second half of our doubleheader as they take on the Giants.
And it'll be interesting to see whether or not the Cowboys can lift themselves out of the malaise, because they've lost not only last week to the Eagles, but the week before to the Redskins.
Second down and 8. End zone wide open. Touchdown Johnson. Beaten on the play.
But we said, you know that Ray Rhodes is going to whip these guys into shape in the locker room at halftime. And it doesn't get any better than that when you talk about reversing the momentum and the energy of a team. When you come out and your defense gets a turnover, Romanowski turns himself into a big hit guy, and then your offense takes advantage of it by scoring. And that play, as much as anything, as much as the catch and the throw, was the protection on the offensive line and the time they gave Rodney Peete.
Reggie Johnson, his second touchdown of the year. Gary Anderson puts the extra point through. Terry Irving beaten on the play. The throw to Reggie Johnson, good for 21.
There's Johnson right up the seam, and Irvin just takes his eyes off of the tight end. When you take your eyes off him, he's going to come down with the ball.
21-yard completion, 7 points on the board. Philadelphia down by 3.
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in Tokyo.
We've already seen one cameraman get smoked, and now, well, that guy, pretty good reaction time.
He did. He had some good some good reflexes there.
Simon Shanks, who is the #1 tackler, special teams for Arizona, down. After that return by LaShawn Johnson, he needs help getting off the field. But the turnover led to the touchdown and leads to a 3-point Arizona lead. They get it back, and momentum now totally on the side of Philadelphia. Play action. Wide open is Sanders. Out of bounds inside Philadelphia territory as Greg Jackson is beaten on the completion to Frank Sanders.
Well, one thing that the Cardinals have done is they've been able to run the ball, and when you can run the ball, that's what sets up your play action, because now you fake the run and you draw the safeties up, and it opens it up for a guy like Frank Sanders, who you can see from this is one of the top rookies of the season. You look at the other guys, Collins and Salam and Wheatley, all having good seasons, but none of them better offensively in the NFC than Frank Sanders.
Good for 19, and on first down, the toss to Garrison Hurst. Got to the sideline, got a couple, forced out of bounds by Greg Jackson. Frank Sanders, a guy who the Arizona Cardinals found in the 2nd round. And Buddy Ryan believes he is going to be better than any of the receivers taken ahead of him eventually. Talking about J.J. Stokes, talking about Michael Westbrook and others. He thinks Frank Sanders might be the best.
And I think that that's very well, that's possible because of Frank Sanders' attitude and his toughness. This guy's a receiver, but he's a Buddy Ryan guy. He's a Buddy Ryan guy because he's tough and he plays a physical brand of football.
2nd down and 8. From the 45, another play action. Again, it's Sanders wide open inside the 30. Out of bounds near the 25, and Jackson and Taylor beaten again.
Once again, it's a little bit of that play action that draws the safeties and the linebackers up and gives Dave Craig the time that he needs, because that's a slow developing pattern. Sanders has got to run up the field and then all the way across the field. And for Dave Craig to be able to make that throw, he's got to have a lot of extra time.
Sanders 4 catches, 48 yards. That one was good for 20. And a 1st down at the Philadelphia 24. So all that momentum Philadelphia gained with the turnover and then the touchdown is about gone. Sanders incomplete. This time working on Mark McMillan, and Frank couldn't get to that throw.
One of the things about Sanders and McMillan is, we talked about McMillan earlier, the little guy. We talked about Sanders' toughness. You know that those guys are going to have some bruises on their bodies after this game because they both play a physical game and they're out there. And McMillan is constantly trying to make up for that lack of size with tenacity and just some fire behind him.
2nd down and 10. Craig 5 out of his last 6 in the air. 5 out of his last 7 and nearly intercepted by Govea. Now 3rd and 10. A Tampa-Chicago update on a McDonald's game break. Back to Hollywood and James Brown.
Hey, Chicago trying to hold on to his playoff hopes. Eric Kramer play action. Finds the touchdown arm at the end. This time it's Jeff Graham for the score. And the Bears lead at 21-10. That in the 3rd. Take it back.
Thank you, James Brown. Green Bay clinched a playoff berth with their win yesterday. It is very conceivable, however, that Detroit could end up winning that division. Detroit winning big at last check against Jacksonville. 3rd down and 10. To the sideline, Sanders again. To the 10-yard line, wide open. The defender fell down. That was Bobby Taylor.
One of the complaints that Ray Rhodes has had with this young rookie cornerback is that he doesn't play with a sense of urgency. We've talked about urgency. We've talked about how Ray Rhodes has gotten this whole team to play with a sense like every play may be the left. Every play may be a big play. And if you watch Bobby Taylor up here on the top covering Frank Sanders, he slips down and then he doesn't get himself back up. Not soon enough to stop the play.
14-yard completion, 1st and goal from the 10. Craig has plenty of time into the end zone, incomplete, and great coverage by Romanowski.
That really was a nice play by Bill Romanowski, because he not only was step for step with the receiver, he's playing it like a defensive back. He's reading the receiver. He's reading Larry Centers. There he is. He runs with him. And when Centers turns his head and his hands go up, Romanowski turns his head and goes for the ball.
On defense, 5 yards, half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Well, they threw the flag, although none of us up here in the booth even saw the flag. But it is an illegal use of hands, and it's against Philadelphia. And I'll tell you, I still have not seen the flag on the field or picked up. You would have to believe it was on Romanowski giving the little shove on Larry Centers. Nonetheless, 1st and goal from the 5 now. And the toss to Garrison Hurst. Jackson. What a good play by Greg Jackson behind the line of scrimmage.
That really was. That was nice concentration by Jackson, because everything's on the line. I mean, this is it. You're down near the goal line. Here's Jackson here. Watch him with the pursuit. And then I said nice concentration because he gets those hands on Garrison Hurst. He gets a hold, and then look at it. Look at his eyes. He follows his hands, he clamps down, and hangs on.
A loss of 2. Now 2nd and goal from the 7. Greg Jackson, unrestricted free agent, brought here last season in his 7th year from LSU. 2nd and goal from the 7. Craig buying time. Incomplete for Rob Moore. Rob Moore wants the flag, and he's not going to get it. Good coverage again by Mark McMillan.
When you've got that kind of matchup, as Dave Craig has here, with Moore on McMillan, Moore 6'3", McMillan again 5'7", you want to throw that ball to a high point. You don't want to beat McMillan by throwing the ball out. And there he is. He was hanging on him, and Moore should have gotten a flag for that. That, no doubt, is interference. But Dave Craig, I think, when he's throwing at McMillan, he wants to throw the ball on the mark to the receiver, but throw it up high.
3rd down and goal from the 7. Arizona leading by 3. Craig falls down. Penalty flag on the play as Craig is down back outside the 10. Penalty flag on the play. And it may be delay a game.
Delay a game offense. 5 yards. Repeat 3rd down.
That is not a break for Philadelphia. They stop Arizona, but the play never happened, blown dead because of the delay a game. Now 3rd and goal from the 12. And again, like last week, the Philadelphia defense is asked to stop the offense again, as they did with Dallas. Penalty flags again. Caught, but whistles blow, and the side judge signaling that the play was dead. And good for Philadelphia this time, as Stevie Anderson came down with it.
False start, 71 offense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
So another 5 yards, this time on the false start, and Buddy Ryan's Arizona offense is moving backward.
And that's a shame for Stevie Anderson and Dave Craig, because that was really a nice job of concentration by Stevie Anderson. That ball got batted around, and he was the guy who came down with it.
It was 1st and goal from the 5. It's now 3rd and goal from the 17. That was the 6th Arizona penalty of the day. Craig looking for help, fires, incomplete. Broken up by Bobby Taylor. This time, Bobby Taylor goes right through Rob Moore.
And this time, Bobby Taylor doesn't slip. He's not down. He's on top of it, and he makes a nice play by using that tall, angular body to get up over the top of Rob Moore, who's a tall, lanky guy himself. And whenever the quarterback has this much time, it puts a lot of pressure on those cornerbacks, and it doesn't get any prettier than that coverage right there.
35-yard try by Davis. He is 4 for 4, and that's now a new Cardinal record, single-season record. 28 field goals this year by Greg Davis. Arizona leading by 6. 3rd quarter in Philadelphia. Our Budweiser game summary, and Tim, only 1 Arizona turnover, but it led to 3 Philadelphia, or I should say 7 Philadelphia points.
Yeah, it did. But if you look at what the Philadelphia Eagles defense has done with these turnovers, they've had 5 red zone situations. They've only allowed 1 of those red zone situations to turn into a touchdown.
As I mentioned, Greg Davis now with the single-season Cardinal record, 28 field goals, breaking a record set in '67 by Jim Bucket. This is Witherspoon. Derek Witherspoon again, close to the 40, brought down at the 39. And a 30-yard return by Witherspoon, who already has an 86-yard return for a touchdown. Well, they're 2 of the longest running comedies on television. And tonight you can catch brand new holiday episodes of The Simpsons and Married with Children. It all happens tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. That's tonight. Right now we have a 6-point game. Arizona out in front with 8.5 left to play in the 3rd quarter. From their own 39, Ricky Waters, Michael Bankston.
Right, Bankston just blows through there again, and it reminds you of what happened with Bernard Wilson earlier in this quarter. Bankston again coming from the right side of the offense, and he just comes right through when Guy McIntyre pulls out of there. So when Guy McIntyre abandons the space, Bankston takes advantage of it with his quickness to get himself into the backfield.
Loss of 2, 2nd down and 12. 8 seconds left on the play clock as Pete changes up the formation on the line. Quick throw, Calvin Williams met immediately at the 43. Dropped by Lance Brown, a gain of 6.
That was a nice quick decision by Rodney Peete. Quick because he had someone on him almost instantly. Bankston again taking advantage of abandoned space, using his acceleration to get into the backfield. And I believe that Pete made the right decision because he threw that ball out at those cornerbacks. Don't forget, Aeneas Williams is not in the game for the Arizona Cardinals. They are weak at the cornerback position.
3rd down and 6 for Philadelphia. Big blitz coming, aired out for Monk. Art Monk inside the 30. Carlos Brooks beaten on the play and a gain of 30. That's his 3rd catch of the day.
Pete's doing the same thing again. He's getting the pressure. Seth Joyner comes off the left side here to get the immediate pressure on Rodney Peete. Pete lays it up there very nicely, and whenever you've got a guy like Art Monk who's been around the league for 16 years against a young guy like Carlos Brooks, that's a battle you expect to win. That's a ball you want to put up.
Now on 1st down, Ricky Waters. He has not had much room all day. Brought down just behind the line of scrimmage. We'll say he got back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10.
Well, we talked earlier about how Arizona's defense is ranked last in the NFL against the run. But in recent weeks, in the past few weeks, they've really been outstanding against the run. They've had Swan back in, they've had Hill back in, and if you look in the last 5 games, if you measure that alone, they have been 4th against the run.
Now on 2nd and 10, Pete incomplete for Barnett. And again, Rodney Peete ends up on his back.
Well, that time Terry Irving wasn't taking any chances at all, because that time when the receiver went up the seam, Irving stayed with him all the way, even though he had some help from Brent Alexander over the top.
The Eagles right now are right on the outer limits of field goal range for Gary Anderson. His long this year is only 43 yards. There's a lot of wind to deal with at this end of the field, and if he were to try the field goal, it would be into that wind. Penalty flag, as it looked like one of the Eagles wide receivers left too soon.
Well, it looked to me like Reggie Johnson didn't know if he was supposed to be on the line or off the line, and there was some confusion between him and the wide receiver.
False start, 81 offense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
They get Rob Carpenter for the infraction.
And once again, this is a function of this West Coast offense. See here, somebody's got to be, it's supposed to be up on the line of scrimmage. One of those 2 receivers. Reggie Johnson sees it, he moves, those guys are looking, they move. So it's a function of, again, being so complicated that sometimes you end up getting penalties.
And right now they are, because of that penalty, outside of field goal range. 3rd down and 15. Incomplete.
I've got to tell you that Rodney Peete has taken a beating today. He has taken a beating from this Arizona defense. And Arizona has put a beating on Rodney Peete, not by blitzing, not with the all-out blitz, but with 4-man rushes. And you see it there. Joyner gets a hit on him and knocks him down again to that hard turf.
Well, now they bring in Gary Anderson, who will try what will be a season-long field goal. He'll try a 48-yarder. His long this year is 43 yards. So a test with a 14-year player from Syracuse. Blocked and returned by Alexander to the 35. And the Eagles come up empty. A key penalty mixed in, and the field goal blocked by the Arizona defense.
And that's always a danger when you're going for a long kick that may be on the long end of your range. You lower the trajectory, and when you lower the trajectory, those guys up the middle get their hands up and knock it down.
Looked like it might have been Eric Swan. Arizona still by 6. Eric Swan got that big hand up and blocked the field goal try by Gary Anderson. The crowd somewhat back into the game, but for the most part pretty quiet. Just a 6-point Arizona lead. 2 tight ends to start with. Penalty flag on the play as the handoff to Hurst up the middle got about 3.
I think back to the field goal block, when you see a starter like Eric Swan playing that way with that kind of intensity on special teams, it tells you about the motivation level of an entire team.
Offside, 90 defense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Ronnie Dixon called for the offside. Back to the block.
Yeah, here it is, right in here. And Eric Swan's a star, but he's a star, and he's still giving everything he's got, leaping up, pushing into the big guys in the middle, and knocking this ball down. I mean, it's easy to stand in there and just push and shove and then just let him kick the field goal. It's difficult after a whole game starting to get in there and make that leap.
1st and 5, and Craig throws it downfield and out of bounds. For the most part, Dave Craig, who has taken more hits than any quarterback in the NFL this season, has had time to look at the Philadelphia defense and find an open receiver.
He's had some pretty good time, and the Cardinals have done a pretty good job of keeping a lot of guys in to block and to give him that protection. Now the problem is, it's like anything in the game of football. You give something here, you have to give up something there. So they give more protection, guys in protection, they give up guys, receivers out in the pattern.
Now 2nd down and 5. Chad Fan lines up in the backfield for Arizona. Hurst. William Thomas after a gain of 1. 3rd down coming up for Arizona.
Well, Kirk Govea just left a calling card with Chad Fan. Fan is the lead blocker on this play, and Govea just accelerates from the middle. And watch this. This is hitting in the NFL. We've seen Govea make more than one of these hits today. Just slams Fan right backwards, and that's why Hurst has nowhere to go.
Last week, Govea, a big hit and a big forced fumble on Emmitt Smith. This, outside of that 4th down stop, may have been the play of the game. With Dallas in close, Govea forces the fumble. Now 3rd and 4, and it's intercepted by William Thomas. That's his 6th of the year, and the Eagles get another turnover.
I said right in the beginning of the game that Dave Craig wants to be aware of where William Thomas is, and you want to throw away from him, because you see 51 and you're thinking linebacker, and you're thinking the reaction of a linebacker, but what you get is 51, you get a linebacker, but you get the reaction of a defensive back. And he makes the break on this ball. He twists himself backwards and shows great athletic ability.
And what he shows you there is what Ray Rhodes smiles about, great hands.
Yeah, he says, Rhodes told us yesterday that he's got the best hands on the entire team. But the offensive coaches wanted to play him at tight end.
So the Eagles get it back at the Arizona 45, and Ricky Waters to the 41. That's it. Still 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Arizona leading by only 6.
William Thomas is one of the only guys I've ever heard of where the head coach said to him, hey, stay out of the weight room. Stay out of the weight room. I mean, whoever hears that anywhere in sports. But Ray Rhodes said this guy is so naturally physically strong, he doesn't need to be in the weight room. I don't want to tighten him up.
2nd down and 6 after Waters got 4. Back across the middle of the field, incomplete for Calvin Williams. Now you can see the Eagles trying to roll Rodney Peete out to buy him some time. That's the kind of heat the Arizona front is putting on Rodney Peete.
And again, they're putting that heat on with just 4 guys. And the Eagles know those guys are tough and strong. They know they've got to double team Swan. they have learned that they've got to double team Clyde Simmons, and then you get Seth Joyner in there rushing from time to time. You see Banks in there. He's been in the backfield. When you get defensive linemen in the backfield, you've got to roll your quarterback out to protect him.
Now 3rd and 6. In the air and picked off. That's Aeneas Williams back into the game. His first series back into the lineup. Up into the air, and the Eagles hand it right back to Arizona.
That should surprise no one that Aeneas Williams comes down with this ball, with this interception. A Pro Bowl player, he always knows where the ball is. It's tipped up. He's got his eyes on it, and he brings it down.
The two teams trade interceptions. Arizona gets it right back.
Art Monk runs a short post pattern. When he does, Rodney Peete delivers the ball a little too hard and a little too behind him, and this ball just bounces right off of him, and then Aeneas Williams again brings it down.
That is Williams' 3rd interception in 2 weeks and 5 for the year. Toss to Garrison Hurst. Breaks one tackle, then another, and crosses the 35-yard line.
Mike Mamula really did a nice job of stringing that play out, forcing Hurst to the outside, allowing his other defenders to rally to the ball and make it a no-gainer. You know, Mamula, again, undersized guy, only about 252 pounds, but on that play showing a nice ability to use his leverage to keep the thing on the line.
Aeneas Williams with the interception. Last 2 games, 3 picks, 2 fumble recoveries, a lot of tackles. By the way, Garrison Hurst is now 10 yards short of 1,000 for the year. Sideline, Anthony Edwards has a first down at the Arizona 45. Michael Zordich beaten on the play, gain of 13.
Dave Craig, again, you said it, Dave Craig has had some nice time today, and part of that has been the focus on William Fuller on that right side. Now, when they've left Selby on Fuller one-on-one, Fuller's been able to make some things happen, but for the most part, they've kept 2 guys on William Fuller.
2.5 minutes left to play, 3rd quarter. Arizona with the ball and a 6-point lead. From their own 45. Airing it out for Rob Moore. Penalty flag on the play, and McMillan will start to argue.
Yep. Mark McMillan has to climb up the back of him because of that height differential. And this is where McMillan is at his weakest. When he's behind a 6'3" guy, he's only 5'7", and to compensate for that height differential, he's got to leap.
Pass interference, 29 defense. First down.
The Arizona Cardinals told us yesterday they believe McMillan can be beaten deep.
Yeah. Again, you want to throw the ball against him, and you want to throw it to a high point. And here it is. It's at a high point, and there it is. He just leaps up. It's an excellent call. He's not tall enough to keep his arm off of the receiver as Bobby Taylor was for the Eagles.
That's a 44-yard penalty. 6th penalty of the day against Philadelphia, and Garrison Hurst gets a couple. Gets it inside the 10 to about the 9.
I'll tell you, you talk about William Thomas and his athletic ability. He pounded Garrison Hurst on that. Now, someone got to Hurst first, but Thomas showed that strength that Ray Rhodes talks about. Thomas, an outstanding athlete, but Rhodes said he walked into the weight room one day, and Thomas, a guy who weighs 220, was benching 450 pounds, and he did a set for 10. That is almost unbelievable.
2nd down and 8 after Hurst got 2. To the sideline, Sanders out of bounds at the 5. Forced out of bounds by Romanowski. By the way, the Cardinals can get a first down without getting it into the end zone. However, it would be tight. Essentially, they have to get it into the end zone here on 3rd and 4. These guys were digging for the football over there when Sanders hopped out of bounds.
That's part of it. I mean, you know, if the ball gets close to you and you're at an NFL game, you got to go for it because it's a heck of a souvenir.
3rd and 4. from just outside the 4. Handoff to Hurst. Lost the football, recovered by the Eagles. Another turnover, and Wilburn comes away with it.
You talk about the crack of the pads. You could hear the crack of the pads from all the way up here. You could hear it throughout the stadium because that crack resounded.
3 second-half turnovers. That's their 3rd of the game, and Arizona turns it over. The Eagles will take over at their own 20.
This is big-time football by this Philadelphia Eagles defense. When everything is down there and you come away with a turnover, it's just an enormous play. You talk about momentum. The momentum now belongs back again to the Eagles.
It's gone back and forth with each turnover. Wilburn there to fall on top of it. And now 3 straight drives have ended in turnovers. 2 by Arizona, 1 by Philadelphia.
It's a nice change-up call, and Hurst goes over the middle, and I believe it's Mark Gunn, the defensive tackle for the Eagles, who slammed into him and knocked that ball free.
Now Ricky Waters to the sideline. He got 5. Carlos Brooks there to force him out of bounds. Under a minute to play in the 3rd quarter, and Ricky Waters' save for that first early big run, for the most part, has been controlled today.
He has, but I think you still want to get the ball back in his hands because, again, he really is the focal point of their offense. He's the guy who's been integral in getting them 8 wins out of the last 10 games.
2nd down and 5. Waters again to the 28. Couple short of a first down.
Another look at that fumble. Let's take a look at Andy Harmon right here. He may have been the guy to make the hit and force this ball out of here. Sheds his blocker, comes inside, and he was. He's the guy who knocks it out. So Andy Harmon once again getting slighted not only by the Pro Bowl selection, but slighted by me because I thought Gunn knocked that ball free.
That will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. And a 3rd and 2 coming up for Philadelphia when the 4th quarter begins. Philadelphia down by 6 after 3. Veteran Stadium, Joe Buck and Tim Green getting ready for the 4th quarter and getting ready for a 3rd and a short 2 for the Eagles. Waters did not get it. What a good play by Brent Alexander coming up from the secondary to make the stop. And the Arizona defense holds on 3rd and a short 2.
And really, this Arizona defense has done a nice job all game long of shutting down the run game. Alexander finding his way through the blockers. He got his way underneath Guy McIntyre to come up and make that hit. So it not only was a physical play, it was a smart play.
Now it's Tom Hutton punting, and he got a hold of one. Anthony Edwards back inside the 15. Breaks 2 tackles and crosses the 15, brought down at the 16. What a punt by Hutton, the rookie.
We talked about Arizona defense being effective against this Philadelphia run. If you look at what Philadelphia's done this season, in the first 4 games, they were really a passing team, and they didn't want to run it as much. And then the last 4 games, what they've done is they've gone to mostly the run game. But today, it's been run 2-1 in the last 4 games. Today, however, that has completely reversed. Today, the Eagles offense has passed 2 times for every 1 time they've run the ball.
A lot of the credit goes to the Arizona defense. That was a 62-yard punt by Hutton. And the Cardinals have it 1st and 10 from their own 17. Busted play, and Craig will take a seat.
I don't know if Dave Craig took a seat as much as his feet just slipped out from underneath him.
I'll say this. I know that Dave Craig is a 16-year player. He's taken a ton of hits, but he didn't have many Eagles around him when he slid down.
He didn't. That's why I've got to believe that he slipped, because Dave Craig is a tough guy. As you said earlier, you know just the amount of hits he's taken this season and still thrown for a lot of yardage. you know that this guy's first priority is not to avoid contact.
That'll be a team sack for Philadelphia, their 3rd sack of the day, 2nd and 14. Centers, not much, to the 15, and that's it. And 3rd and long coming up for Arizona.
That play surprises me as much as anything, that they run on 2nd and 14, but that they run to their right side, because they have really had the most success in the run game, the Cardinals today, by running to their left, away from Andy Harmon, away from William Fuller.
Attendance today here at Veterans Stadium, 62,076. Short of capacity, and hoping for an Eagles stop on 3rd and 13. Gregg steps up, incomplete for Sanders. Had him open, threw behind him. William Thomas there with Sanders along with Bobby Taylor.
Craig took a great risk throwing that ball at all, because Sanders was surrounded by 3 Philadelphia Eagles defenders. I know you want to go after Bobby Taylor. That was part of the game plan today, but you don't want to go against Taylor if he's got 2 other guys there to help him out.
Rob Carpenter waiting for the punt from Jeff Fiegels. Not a very good punt, taken in at the 50. Carpenter gets to the 48, and that is it. But the Eagles will start with it inside Arizona territory after just a 35-yard punt. Philly down by 6.
A superstar. He may not fit into this kind of a conservative West Coast offense, pseudo run offense, but he would fit into this guy's plans, because Buddy Ryan loves Randall Cunningham. Make no mistake, if Cunningham goes on the wire, Buddy will try to bring him down.
Pete lost his footing, got it back, incomplete. Williams, the intended receiver. A Chicago Bears update on a McDonald's game break. Back to Hollywood, back to JB.
Johnson said Rashawn Salaam will have a big day. Career highs in yards, 119, and TDs, 3 on the afternoon. Chicago ahead comfortably. Dallas, New York coming up next, except for those of you in Chicago and Philadelphia. Let's take it back to Joe Buck and Tim Green.
Thank you, James Brown. 2nd down and 10. Ball resting at the Arizona 37. Big rush. Pete hangs on. So does Williams. Calvin Williams. Touchdown, Philadelphia. No flags. .37 yards, and with the extra point coming, Philadelphia can jump on top for the first time today.
The Eagles wanted to take advantage of Seth Joyner, a linebacker out there in the secondary, playing like a defensive back, and he missed that play on Calvin Williams. Rodney Peete hung in, took a big hit from Clyde Simmons, and still delivered that ball.
Gary Anderson punches it through, and the ovation here at the Vet as the Philadelphia Eagles, down at 1 point, 17-0, have their first lead of the day. Joyner couldn't bring down Williams. Calvin got it to the end zone. Buddy Ryan told us he still loves Philadelphia, and Philadelphia still loves him. He's not loving the fact that up at 1 point, 17-0, the Eagles now have come back and lead 21-20. Calvin Williams makes up for a first-half fumble with the touchdown catch, and now LaShawn Johnson on the return across the 25, brought down around the 28.
Well, Buddy Ryan is known for a gambling defense. He sends his guys on the blitz. What that does, it isolates Seth Joyner man-to-man on Calvin Williams. And when the linebacker is isolated on a wide receiver, you run him into the center away, because look at that. Center field is wide open. Man-to-man blitz. Cardinals abandon center field, and it's not a good feeling for Seth Joyner.
The Eagles are perfect in games in which they lead at any time in the second half this season, 9-0. They have a lead with 12 minutes to play, 21-20. First down, Garrison Hurst to the 34.
Joyner getting the call from upstairs, talking to whoever's up there, defensive coordinator, defensive coaches. But, you know, he's got a scowl on his face. There's nothing he could do. And he had to tell the guys upstairs, hey, look, I was on the guy, had him covered. I just flat out missed him. He outran me, but he's a wide receiver. He being Calvin Williams. Seth Joyner, even though he's playing strong safety, is a linebacker.
Think they're on the same phone line?
No, I don't think so.
Garrison Hurst now is over 1,000 yards for the season. Fights forward through Ronnie Dixon.
I hope we can get a replay of this, because Ronnie Dixon just absolutely blasts right through the line, right backwards. Watch Cunningham, the center, right here in the middle of the field. And look at Dixon, just wham, drives Cunningham backwards. I mean, it's the offensive lineman who's supposed to drive the defensive lineman back. That time, Ronnie Dixon thought he was on offense.
Then Garrison Hurst forced Dixon back a couple of yards, and it's 3rd and 3. Craig, middle of the field, and caught. What a catch by Frank Sanders. He looked like he was flat on his stomach and somehow reached up and made the catch.
You talk about a guy being a special wide receiver, and this guy one day surpassing all the other wide receivers that were taken in this year's draft. You see things like that, and you really start to believe. As you said it, he lays his body out with absolutely no regard for his health, pulls that ball in just so nicely.
7 catches for 70 yards for Sanders. Wow. Lost his footing, still came back to make the catch, and got a first down by half a yard. Now it's Anthony Edwards short of the 50, but a gain of about 7 on first down. One last footnote about Garrison Hurst, Tim. His first time over 1,000 yards, and the first time that Buddy Ryan now has ever coached a running back who was rushed for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, because Buddy Ryan's focus has always been on defense, defensive guys. But I'll tell you, this Arizona team really has some nice skill position players on offense between Craig and Hurst and Centers and Moore and Sanders. The only thing they lack is a real strong offensive line.
2nd down and 3. Hurst lost it again. Philadelphia recovers. 2nd fumble of the day for Garrison Hurst.
The Philadelphia Eagles, as a team, have played this second half like a playoff team. Like a team that not only will be in the playoffs, but a team that can advance through the playoffs.
Mark Gunn ended up falling on top of the loose ball.
It's nice control all across the line. Gunn not only recovered the ball, he forced it by driving Duval Love back into Garrison Hurst's face.
Each team with 4 turnovers, 8 in the game, and a first down for Philadelphia at the Arizona 45. Ricky Waters. He got 9.5 to the 35. Second and a short 1 coming up for the Eagles. Garrison Hurst thinking about the 2 fumbles. He's over 1,000 yards for the year, but that's the furthest thing from his mind right now.
Yeah, when you drop balls that can cost you the game, the 1,000 yards doesn't mean anything until about February or March.
He dropped 1 in the end zone, dropped 1 on their recent possession, and now a timeout has been called for by the Arizona defense. Philadelphia, their first lead of the day. They have the ball, 4th quarter, up by 1. Years and leading the pack, Ray Rhodes of Philadelphia, 9-5, hoping for 10-5, hoping for 11-5, and I guess halftime worked.
Yeah, part of being a good coach is having the ability to play flat in the first half and turn your guys around in the locker room.
2nd down and a short 1. Waters gets a first down inside the 35 to the 33. Eight 41 and counting left in this game. Philadelphia up by only 1, but have taken Another Garrison Hurst fumble and picked up a first down.
What the Eagles want to do offensively now, as much as anything, as much as take the ball down and get some points, they want to be very careful, protect that ball, not let this Arizona defense get another one of their famous turnovers.
Waters looking for daylight, gets nothing and lost his footing well back behind the line of scrimmage. And when you talk about turnovers, Tim, this Arizona defense has forced 10 turnovers in the last 2 weeks, and they could very well lose for the second straight time.
Which is really goes against all statistics, because almost every coach in this league will point to turnovers and say, this is the difference in the game. This is what makes you win or lose. And Buddy Ryan just has to be baffled that his defense could come up with those kind of turnover numbers, 10 in 2 weeks, and possibly lose both games.
Second down and 15 after a loss of 5. Nearly picked off by McCants, and that was a dangerous throw by Rodney Peete. How can you not see that big body standing in the middle of the pass route? Well,
what happens a lot when you see a defensive lineman dropping like that, it's a zone blitz. It's a zone because somebody rushes, the linebacker rushes, and then the defensive lineman, McCants in this case, drops into the zone of the linebacker. It's a changeup that sometimes will get you a sack and sometimes will get you an interception.
Third down and 15 now for Rodney Peete and the Eagles. Looking to run, can't get away from McCants. Brought down at the 35. They are outside of field goal range, and good work again by the Arizona defense. Time for Philadelphia to punt.
Good work by the defense, smart play by Rodney Peete, because as I said, it was very, very important for the Eagles offense not to give that defense a big play and a turnover. When Peete felt the pressure of the blitz, when he saw he didn't have a receiver, he pulled that ball in and kept it safe.
Hutton looking for placement on this punt. Takes a bad Philadelphia bounce into the end zone and over the head of Mark McMillan. He's saying, hey man, I'm only 5'7". What do you want me to do? That was a 35-yard punt, and Henderson was down there as well. Two little guys. It took a hop over their heads. Sorry, just can't handle those high hops. Don't miss that one coming up next. The Giants and the Cowboys. And as we look at the NFC East, Dallas with a game lead over Philadelphia. Philadelphia still with the pressure on Dallas. And that win last week by the Eagles puts them in a position where if they end with the same record, Philadelphia wins the division because of the tiebreaker conditions. Garrison Hurst gets it right back, crosses the 25 and is brought down at the 28.
But Hurst has got to be really focused in on not only holding on to the ball, but trying to win this game for his team. He is motivated right now because he knows he has hurt his team with those 2 fumbles. You'll get the best game and the best effort out of the player after he's made those kind of mistakes.
He does have the 2 fumbles, but he has 90 yards on the day, and he's over 1,000 for the year. Second down and 2. Hurst again falls forward, gets a first down outside the 30.
And he took a shot too before he got that first down. And again, you're going to get the all-out effort from him. It looks like he banged up his arm a little bit on that play. He takes the shot behind the line of scrimmage, gets that hit from Ronnie Dixon, and then just uses great balance to twist and accelerate and drive his feet to pick up that first down. It's a nice effort.
You can see Dixon coming away shaking his arm a little bit. First and 10 from their own 31. Centers met in the backfield by Govea.
That is a nice reaction by Govea. We've seen Govea do some nice things today, filling in as a middle linebacker, slamming into guys. On this play, he's actually coming on a blitz because this is a passing formation. But what he does is he readjusts himself. He's coming for the quarterback. He sees the handoff to centers, and Govea changes direction and makes a nice athletic play.
Anthony Redmond, the right guard, moved to his left, didn't pick up Govea, and Kurt took advantage of it. A loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Sideline, Edwards caught for a first down. McMillan forced him out of bounds, but Craig made a nice throw to Anthony Edwards. And now McMillan is down.
If you look at Dave Craig and you look at his career, he's really had a fine career. He's put together a lot of winning teams. He's taken his team to the playoffs time and time again, but he won't be a guy who will be remembered in the history of football unless he takes a team to the Super Bowl. That's always it for a quarterback. They got to take their people to the Super Bowl.
Unfortunately, the only thing that Craig right now, every time you hear Craig, as they look at McMillan, they talk about Craig fumbling more than any quarterback in the history of the league. He's much better than just that. Incomplete for Sanders. Greg Jackson running with Sanders, 2nd and 10.
So how come you talked about it?
Well, you got to bring it up and then push it aside.
Yeah, because it perpetuates itself. And there's McMillan coming back into the game, which obviously beefs up the coverage abilities of the Eagles.
Jerome Henderson, who is one of the extra defensive backs, checks out. McMillan back in, 2nd down and 10. Dave Craig, 19 out of 35 for 216 yards, 1 interception. Craig has a little time, finds his tight end McBride, and he has a first down inside the Philadelphia 45. And there's Govea to make the tackle. But here come the Cardinals marching right down the field.
McBride on that play does the same thing to Govea that he did earlier to Bill Romanowski. Again, a big guy, 6'5", about 270 pounds. And once McBride catches the ball, he's like a locomotive. He's real tough to stop, and it takes a lot of distance to slow him down.
He got 12. 1st and 10 from the Eagle 45. Centers, not much. Got about half a yard. .341 and counting left in this game. Arizona has 2 timeouts remaining. Philadelphia all 3, and the Eagles holding on to a slim 1-point lead.
When you're a defender, you always are aware of where you are on the field, and you always start to step it up a notch once you sense that goal line behind you. And the Eagles defense now needs to step it up because the goal line is getting close for the Cardinals.
2nd down and 9, and that play never happened. Penalty flags and whistles before it got going.
Prior to the snap, false start, 87 offense, 5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Told you it's tough to slow down those locomotives.
Flags and whistles slowed him down. At the end of this game, Tim and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game, and right now that's got to be up in the air. It's got to be somebody who steps up and wins this game. It's been a less than spectacular effort on each side, but Philadelphia will take it for the moment, leading by a point here in the 4th quarter. 2nd down and 14. Craig buying time to the sideline. Wide open is Anthony Edwards. And a first down inside the 25. Barry Wilburn, an extra defensive back, was beaten on the play. A gain of 25.
And it's a nice job by Edwards, a nice long ball by Dave Craig, but again, his front guys gave him the time that they needed. And it's not only his offensive line, it's Larry Centers helping block. And Edwards, what he does here is he finds a hole in that zone. He gets between the cornerback and the deep safety. Deep safety being Zordich, who puts the smack on him. And that's where you want to get. You got to find the hole in the zone.
Edwards 5 catches for 59 yards. Gets a first down, and now Garrison Hurst runs into a wall at the 25-yard line. And a timeout has been called by Philadelphia. They are left with 2 and 2 minutes 53 seconds in the game. Right now the Arizona Cardinals are well within field goal range for Greg Davis, who today is already 4 for 4. Travis Walton disappeared for 5 days, and the story he told has become the most famous case of UFO abduction ever reported. Based on a true story, don't miss Fire in the Sky, a world broadcast premiere on the Fox Tuesday night movie.
Do you believe in that stuff?
I saw that movie, and the movie kind of makes you believe in it, but for the most part, no.
So it was a good movie, but it didn't convince you all the way.
It was a good movie. I walked out of the theater believing in that stuff, but next day or so I got back to my senses.
After you had a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee, ride home, that about cured me. 2nd down and 10 for Arizona with 2:53 to play. Craig on this drive is 3 out of 4 for 52 yards. Hurst. Wow. Thrown backward after he met Govea, and Mark Gunn with a big hit coming up to help wrap up. Time becoming a factor for Philadelphia with Arizona inside field goal range.
Well, Kurt Govea really all day long has done a great job of throwing his body around, filling up. There you see him shaking the center, Ed Cunningham, getting off of the block and making this tackle, which drives the ball carrier right back onto his back. It's a guy you wouldn't want to see coming down a lonely street.
3rd down and 9. Craig is sacked back around the 30.
That's really stepping it up as a defense. Back to the wall, critical situation, critical time.
And they come up with a critical sack, which makes the field goal try a bit longer, about a 47-yard try, and we'll have that after we take a break for the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in this one at the Vet in Philadelphia. Greg Davis. When we come back, we'll try to put the Cardinals back on top. 2 minutes to go in Philly. 47, 48 yards, depending on where they spot the ball. Well within the range of Greg Davis, who's long this year and in his career is 55 yards.
The other thing you got to know about Greg Davis is he doesn't think he'll be back to kick for the Cardinals next year if Buddy Ryan is.
He is 4 for 4 today. He'll try a 47-yarder. Davis is short. Short. And the Eagles still lead by 1. A 47-yard try. His long this year is 55 yards. I watched him before the game. He was knocking him through at that distance easily. Here he is short.
But I've got to tell you, with this kind of height under the ball, there is a wind, and the wind is right in Davis's face. And I really believe that's the difference between making this kick and not making it, the difference between a smile and a frown on Ray Rhodes' face. Or almost a smile.
Don't forget the sack by Mark Gunn. That took it from a 39-yard field goal to a 47-yard field goal, and that's the difference between a Philly lead and Philly being down. Mark Gunn with an enormous sack, and now the Eagles will run the ball and force Arizona to use their timeouts. They take one here. They are left with only one. One first down by Philadelphia could do it.
And that sack really is the difference between a great defense and a good defense, because a good defense would stop them and make them kick the field goal. A great defense comes up with a big play of their own to drive that field goal back.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the Philadelphia Eagles and the National Football League is prohibited. And there's Mark Gunn over on the sideline with a smile. He came away with a sack that took Greg Davis beyond his range at this end of the field.
And he also came away with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery earlier in the game. So Mark Gunn, a backup player for the Eagles, having a big day today.
Second down and 8. Waters will stay in bound. Garth Jack's there to fall on top of him, and now Arizona will spend its final timeout.
And I think that instead of putting the pressure on your offense to say, hey, all right, you guys have got to come out and get a first down and use up the clock, Ray Rhodes is going to try to win with the thing that really got him here. Got him to win 8 out of the last 10, got him in the playoff position. That's the defense, because you use up as much of the clock as you can, you kick it away, and you rely on that defense to stop Arizona one more time.
You saw the second half of our doubleheader. The Giants and the Cowboys. Meanwhile, today's game is being produced by Michael Burks, directed by Joe Assetti. The studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Assisting here in the booth, Gary Lynn and Ethan Cooperson. Down in the truck, as he does every week, Barry Landis, a local Philly boy. Third down for Philadelphia. 3rd and 9 from their own 39, and Ricky Waters stays in bounds, well short of a first down, in time for the Eagles to punt it back to Arizona. There will be under a minute to play when the Cardinals get their hands on the ball. Hutton has already kicked a 62-yard punt in this game, and as we know now, he is kicking with the wind. That wind has really picked up since the start of the day. 8 seconds left on the play clock. They'll let it wind down. And they just do get it away. Hutton with the punt to Anthony Edwards from the 10. Shakes one tackle, gets to the 25, and that is it with only 43 seconds left to play. A 48-yard punt by the rookie Hutton, and a 16-yard return by Anthony Edwards.
If you're in a 2-minute situation, which Dave Craig and this offense are, I really believe that you want to have the kind of guys he's got. The guys like Rob Moore, a guy like Stevie Anderson, the tall guys, a tall guy like Frank Sanders, who's going to put the pressure and bring down the ball in a pile, in a scrap fight. You want those guys to go up for these balls, because you can throw the ball high, bring it down near the sideline.
However, Arizona is left with no timeouts, and they start from their own 25. Penalty flag on the play. Incomplete to Rob Moore. Looked like Mamula jumped a little too soon. And 40 seconds left to play. Dave Craig, the veteran, trying to get his team into field goal range.
59 defense, 5 yards, repeat first down.
And we have already seen that it is going to be a difficult task to kick into this wind. So they are going to have to pile up some yardage with no timeouts and 40 seconds left on the clock.
And again, what he wants to do is throw the ball high with a high trajectory to those tall wide receivers near the sideline.
With 6 defensive backs into the game, it's picked off. William Thomas, and that will do it. His 2nd of the day, his 7th of the year, and you now know why William Thomas is headed to the Pro Bowl. A penalty flag is on the field, 2 penalty flags. The Arizona offense has already walked off the field. Thomas comes away with the interception. We'll see if it stands.
You said someone is going to have to step up at the end of this game to turn it around, to seal the fate, to win it, to be the player of the game.
Personal foul, 95 defense, grab the face mask. Personal foul, 74 Arizona with a blow to the head. He's disqualified. Penalties offset, first down Philadelphia.
It was after the interception. It's the old roommates, Fuller and Selby, going at each other.
These two guys lived in close quarters together on the road. Here they are over here on the right side, and Selby gets his hands up, and probably what happens is Fuller takes a crack at him after he sees that interception, and Selby doesn't like it.
So the penalty's offset. Selby's out of the game. William Thomas comes up with his second interception of the day. He's our Miller Lite player of the game. He's going to Honolulu for the Pro Bowl, and the Eagles are going to go to 10-5 with Dallas and the Giants coming up next, the second half of our doubleheader.
And really, if you look at this game, it really was a two-part game. The Eagles came out at the beginning, and they were flat, I think, after that emotional win last week against Dallas. They went into the locker room, and Ray Rhodes got them turned around. They came out and played the second half like a playoff team.
This is a game of adjustments. Philadelphia adjusted at half, and as we adjust the standings, Philadelphia now 10-5. Dallas coming up in the second half of our doubleheader. They take on the Giants. Don't miss that. The NFC East certainly does not belong to the Dallas Cowboys yet. The Philadelphia Eagles are putting on the pressure. So for Tim Green, this is Joe Buck saying so long from Veterans Stadium, where the final score is Philadelphia 21, Arizona 20. You've been watching Fox Sports coverage of the National Football League. Now, stay tuned for the second half of our doubleheader. It's the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys coming up next. Enjoy your Sunday night, and good night from the city of brotherly love.